Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for checking out the Tristan Law Show. I mean, if this is not the podcast you meant to listen to, hey, well, just hang out for a little bit more because I am the host of this brand new podcast. This is the Tristan Law Show. Thank you so much for everybody that supported me, for everybody that has checked out the website, tristanlawshow.com. Thank you very much for checking that out. That's going to be the hub, the central point to where you can learn everything and keep up with the Tristan Law Show. Wow. So the main question is, how the hell did I get here? Well, obviously you selected me from your favorite podcast platform and you pressed play and you're listening to me and now I'm here now. But how did I get here? How did we get to the Tristan Law Podcast? Well, me personally, I have created, produced, hosted, and co-hosted other podcasts prior to this one. And looking back at it all now, it was practice for this one. This one here is the Tristan Law Podcast. I am a professional wrestler. I've been wrestling since 2009. I started off in 2007 in professional wrestling school, and I had my first wrestling match about, 11 years ago this month in 2009 is when I had that first match. Wow, I'm old. I had it in Garfield High School. And it was a match where I was the heel. I was not advertised on the card, but I lost. That match is on YouTube, but I hit it because it's my first match, and it is, as we say in professional wrestling business, it is the drizzling poops. So being a professional wrestler and creating, producing, hosting, and co-hosting other podcasts, I feel like all that has gotten me to here, to where I am now. It's things that I love. I love to talk. I love to entertain people. I love to, tear it up in the ring and beat people up in the ring. I like to interview people and I like to learn about people as well too. About 2 years ago, I told her I wanted to start a podcast. And she said, "What is the podcast going to be about?" I said, "Well, I want it to be about any and everything. Like I want it to be like a variety podcast." And she goes, "Tristan, yeah, that's not going to work. It's a little bit too broad and nobody will probably listen to that." And the reason why they probably wouldn't listen to it is because it's vague. Like, they may check it out this week because I'm talking about, cooking. And then a couple weeks later, they might want to check it out again, but it's talking about dogs, but they don't like dogs because they like cooking. And then, they might check out again next week and it might be about, aquariums, but they don't like fish. So we didn't go with that. So after a while of thinking about what I want to do, I decided that I wanted to do a podcast about politics. Yeah. So I decided to do a podcast about politics. It was about Donald Trump. It was called America versus 45. It doesn't matter which side of the line that I stand on because this is not a political podcast and I'm not a political person. So how did I try to do a political podcast all them years ago? I don't know. So another thing that I do as well too, this is going to lead into how I jumped onto another podcast. I also manage many different social media pages for many different people. Obviously I manage the Tristan Law fan page that you can find on Facebook. And I also manage the ECPW, the East Coast Professional Wrestling page. I'm one of the admins. So, I got a message from a guy, and the guy wanted to know if he can link up with us, ECPW, and come there and do a show and do some interviews. I vetted him a little bit, never heard of him, and I want to see what he was about. I was like, wow, it sounds cool. Yeah, come down, because we're all trying to grow. We're all trying to eat. If there's enough food for everybody to eat, come eat. Why not? So he came down and did the show. We befriended each other, and they decided to invite me down to where I did a couple episodes. Lo and behold, I befriended the whole entire crew, and they let me come down, and I became a permanent part of the show. So that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years with that. I even did a podcast with some family as well, too, but that didn't work out. Royal Ramble Radio. That podcast still does exist. It exists out there in the podcast world, so you can go ahead and listen to me on that there. But along the way, I've met a lot of people who have helped and guided me in which moves to make to get here to the Tristan Law podcast. Dave Lee from Dave Knows Wrestling and Dave Knows Comics on YouTube. Those are two separate YouTube channels. Be sure to check those out. Stephen James from Capital Wrestling. No, not Capital Wrestling. They're now Catalyst Wrestling. He's the color commentator for Catalyst Pro Wrestling. Go ahead and check them out. You can find them on Fight TV. Also, as well, I'd like to thank Dave LaGreca. The reason why I thank Dave LaGreca, he is the host of Sirius XM's #1 sports show, Busted Open, is because I remember listening to him and thinking, wow, that job is so cool because all you get to do is talk about wrestling. That's freaking amazing. So those are my inspirations. But let's get to the name. How the heck did I come up with the Tristan Law Show? Now, I just wanted to give you guys a disclaimer before I even continue. I hate the fact that I named the show the Tristan Law Show because I feel that it is egotistical and maniacal for somebody to name a show after themselves. So after going through so many different iterations of trying to figure out what the name was going to be, what it was not going to be, what I wanted the show to be about, I decided to consult some friends, Dave Lee and Stephen James, and say, hey, what I think the name should be. Dave's biggest advice was, whatever name you choose, Google it and make sure that nobody else has it. Check it out online, check it out on podcasts. Just check it out. Make sure nobody else has the name that you pick. You know what, Dave? That's a hell of an idea because, I didn't want the same exact thing to happen with other podcasts that I've done where, it creates confusion in the podcast world. People don't know where to look. Stephen James, his advice was, dude, just go with your name. So after thinking about it for some while, I said, you know what? Let me take Steve's idea and let me take Dave's idea and mix them together and see what I get. So I went ahead and I typed in Tristan Law Show. What did I find? I found stuff on me. So I realized I'm already the brand. It is my show and it is, my name. So why the hell not go with the Tristan Law Show? I mean, heck, there's been other successful, famous people that have had shows named after themselves. Oprah Winfrey, Dave Chappelle, Jay Leno, and the list goes on and on and on. So why can I not name a show after myself? That's pretty much how I feel about the name of the show. But the format of this podcast, the Tristan Law Show, will be a solo podcast. It'll just be me alone. There'll be no other hosts. However, every single episode, there will be guests on the show. There'll be guests from inside and outside the world of professional wrestling. That's right. That includes people that are professional wrestlers. That includes referees. That includes people that play the music. That includes security. That includes people that have made $1 in the wrestling business and people that have made millions of dollars in the wrestling business. That's right, guys and girls. That is my goal, to get big name people on this podcast. It's going to be a weekly podcast, and as everything grows, everything's going to get better. One of the things that I've done as well too is I set up a Patreon. Under Patreon, you can sign up for 2 levels. There's the entry level, there's the second level. There's other levels to come down the line. If you sign up for the second level will give you exclusive content that you could only hear on Patreon. You're not going to be able to listen to it on your favorite podcast platform because then everybody will be able to listen to it. You're going to get uncensored, ad-free episodes. That's right, uncensored, ad-free episodes. But wait, there's more. You're going to get them before everybody else. That's right. So you're going to go ahead and get these episodes before everybody else. Everybody's going to have to wait a couple days because, hey, you're in it. Other levels we're going to add as well too is that there's going to be exclusive interviews that I'm going to get. There's a couple people I have in my mind that I'd like to get, and I do follow some of them on Twitter, on my personal Twitter page at The Real Big Tris. Go ahead and follow me there if you've not done so already. Those are going to be exclusive that you can't listen to on any podcast platform. You're going to only be able to listen to that on Patreon. So I want to have everybody jump on over right now to the Tristan Law Show, tristanlawshow.com. Go ahead and find that website, tristanlawshow.com. And that's going to be the hub for everything, where you can find everything in regards to me. I am the brand, Tristan Law. Hey, thank you so much, guys, for checking out the introductory episode of the Tristan Law Show. I want you guys to go ahead and stick with me because this is going to be something that's really cool that's going to be going on here with me. I'm going to have so many great people. And if you have some people that you want to be on the show as well, too, hey, head on over to tristanlawshow.com. And in the contact section, hey, fill it out and tell me who you'd like to see on the show. But hey, I'm Tristan Law, and this is the Tristan Law Show. And keep your ears peeled for episodes which will be dropping starting in August. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you guys in a few weeks.